And for more, we're bringing in our panel. We have former Obama administration officials, both Joel Rubin and Jarrod Bernstein. Welcome. It's good to see both of you. And I just want to get your immediate reaction to today's news about the former president. Joel, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, Natasha, it's great to be with you and with Jared. Look, it's a cruel irony what President Biden is going through right now, being that he is a person who's most identified with the fight against cancer, and of course losing his son as well. And I think it's a really important message as well that President Trump put out there to show empathy and humanity to President Biden. This is a moment where all Americans should remember that politics and governance is about all of us, and we should care for the people who choose to serve. And Joe Biden, he chose to serve for more than 5 decades and clearly accomplished achievements for all of us, including guiding us through a pandemic that was incredibly harmful to Americans' health. So my thoughts, my prayers clearly are with him and his family. And I also feel a deep appreciation for all that he's sacrificed over the years for all of us.
Jarrod, what are your thoughts tonight?
Well, I think that to echo everything that was just said, Joe Biden is the finest among us in public servants, and he really gave his entire life to this nation. I would think, not having spoken to Joe Biden myself today, but that he would want us to be also thinking of the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of other Americans who are battling cancer right now, and keeping them in our prayers as well. Nobody's tougher than Joe Biden, and if there's anybody who can beat this and this diagnosis, he's the guy. He really has devoted much of his presidency and his vice presidency to really ending cancer as we know it. And really, I think that there is an irony in this, but that he would want to be remembered and he would want to be known for, all the efforts that he gave to try and end this disease as we know it. So, we're all thinking of Joe Biden and the Biden family tonight. And we know that Joe Biden is a tough kid from Scranton, Pennsylvania at the end of the day, and he's going to fight this with every fiber of his being.
Joel, we spoke with a renowned urologist just last hour, Dr. David Schusterman, who said that this kind of aggressive cancer, Gleason score of 9, in his experience takes around 5 to 10 years to develop, that only a man who was medically neglected wouldn't know about it. I mean, Joel, how would the Democratic Party deal with this if this were not, in fact, a new or a sudden diagnosis?
Well, Natasha, I have to say there's been a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking going on over the past week or so about Joe Biden, his health, his mental acuity, and the conditions surrounding his decision to stay, to run, and then to withdraw from the race last year. And I got to tell you, I find it kind of troubling and distasteful, to be honest. He was an effective president, a highly regarded one within the Democratic Party. Health issues are part and parcel of human life. And certainly he had medical attention taking care of him. And I just think we have to focus on him as a man and on what he achieved for our country, and not really second guess all of the questions that now, of course, people like to talk about. And the headlines are being grabbed. And one more thing to add to this, I really hope that people shut it down. This criticism of him over the past week or so, a book driving it, maybe this week the book will come out, maybe not. But I hope they shut it down and think about him and public service. And this is not just a game. This is about real life and real people dedicating themselves to all of us.
I mean, Jarrod, what does this revelation mean for that heavy speculation that Joel was referring to, the book that is coming out in 2 days that talks about his mental decline?
I think it's a great question, right? Because there's, the people who are putting out this book, the publisher, the people who wrote the book, they really have to think long and hard about what is appropriate at this time. Because for whatever you want to say about Joe Biden, about how he ended his presidency, whether he should have gotten out sooner, he is an honorable man and served this country for 5 decades, lost a son in service of this country who contracted brain cancer, probably because of his service in Iraq. And so people need to be really careful when they at this moment in time about how they are seeking to capitalize on Joe Biden and the Biden family's misfortune.
And both of you served in the Obama administration while Biden was vice president. Joel, how are your interactions with him personally and professionally? What are you remembering tonight?
Well, every time I saw him speak and in groups, and I even served in the Senate when he was a senator as well. I mean, what a regal figure, what an engaging man, what a person who seemed thoughtful at every moment and had a sparkle in his eye as well. And so, you knew with Joe Biden and with the people around him, he had a very close, tight circle of aides who were with him for decades. You knew that you were getting the best of the best. You knew that you were getting people who cared, who had empathy, who were decent, and who were intellectually sound, who were trying to make the best decisions for the country. And that goes back, from my experiences, going back more than 2 decades, back to a point where I was even lobbying on behalf of funding for the Peace Corps as an outside activist, and his team was always thoughtful and caring, as was he. So, that really is what you want. That's the model of public service.
And Jarrod, are you expecting that the public will be let in quite often going forward about the former president's health?
No, I think that they're going to try and keep this as a private family affair. Obviously, he's a former president, and there's a certain amount of transparency that comes with that. But I think they're going to handle this as a family. I would just tell you that when Joe Biden gets on TV or gets in front of a crowd and says, "My word is a Biden," that really means something, and that means something whether there's 2 people in the room or 200,000 people in a stadium or 2 million people on TV. He was. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant, and that was for good or for bad. But you also, better have kept up with him as a staffer. That when you went in to see Joe Biden, it happened to me when he was vice president, and you better have your stuff together, because if you didn't, you were going to be walking out with a little bit of a limp, and that's okay, because it was never personal. And if you came back and you figured out what needed to be done, you went in there and you were embraced and you moved forward, because that all you had to do is keep up with him.
All right, Jarrod Bernstein, Joel Rubin, appreciate you both tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.